The village of Akuro was quiet. It was the kind of village where nothing changed. The same red soil, the same clay houses, the same tired faces. People went to church on Sundays, greeted their elders, and minded their own business. But not everyone had peace. There was a man named Ogundil. He was in his 30s, farmer, strong arms, quiet voice. His wife, Ada, had died 3 years ago. His only son had disappeared during a flood. Since then, he had lived alone. No joy, no family, only pain. He still went to church every week. He still knelt during prayer. But inside he was tired. Tired of waiting for God to answer. Tired of hearing, "Be patient." One night, the pain became too much. Rain was falling outside. The wind pushed through the holes in the roof. Ogundil sat on the floor, staring at the candle in front of him. His Bible was beside him, closed. He didn't open it. Instead, he spoke into the empty air. "God," he said, "are you even listening? I've prayed for 3 years. I've fasted. I've given everything. Still, nothing." His voice shook with anger. "I want help. I don't care where it comes from anymore. If heaven is silent, then let something else answer." He didn't say amen. He didn't say in Jesus' name. He just sat there, breathing hard, while the candle flickered. Then the rain stopped. The wind died. The night grew too quiet. Ogundil stood up, confused. He walked to the door and opened it slowly. The village looked the same, but something had changed. The trees were still. The air was heavy. And across the narrow path, in the shadow of a mango tree, someone stood tall, motionless, watching him. "Who's there?" Ogundil asked. No answer. The figure stepped forward. Ogundil could not see a face, only 2 red eyes shining in the dark. And then, a voice, deep and smooth, whispered from the shadows. "You called. I have come." Ogundil did not move. The figure stepped closer, slow and smooth, like someone who had all the time in the world. The red eyes glowed like burning charcoal. Rainwater dripped from its shoulders, but the ground beneath its feet stayed dry. Ogundil's voice cracked. "Who are you?" The figure stopped just outside the doorway. "You asked for help," it said calmly. "So I came." The wind picked up again, but this time it didn't feel cold. It felt strange, like it was alive and listening. Ogundil looked down at his feet. The earth had turned black beneath him. "I didn't mean," he started. The figure tilted its head. "You said you didn't care where the help came from." Ogundil took one slow step backward. "Are you from God?" The figure chuckled. "Did God answer you all these years?" Ogundil clenched his fists. "If you're not from him, then go back to where you came from." The figure's voice grew softer. "You think prayers are only heard by heaven?" Ogundil didn't answer. The figure raised its hand and pointed to the sky. "Some prayers rise like smoke and vanish into the clouds. Others fall and land somewhere deeper." Ogundil's breath caught in his throat. "So where did mine land?" The figure smiled for the first time. It was not a kind smile. "Let's just say, I heard it loud and clear." The wind howled through the trees. A dog barked somewhere far off, then suddenly stopped. The candle inside Ogundil's house blew out, yet no one had touched it. "You have suffered," the figure said. "You have waited. You have cried. But tonight, the waiting ends." Ogundil looked down at his shaking hands. "And what do you want in return?" he asked. The figure stepped inside the house. "I want only what you're willing to give." Ogundil stared at him, and the door slammed shut behind them. The door slammed shut with a loud bang. Ogundil jumped. He turned quickly, but there was no one behind him. No wind, no hand on the door. Still, it had closed, like the house itself had decided it was time. The tall figure stood inside now, casting a long shadow across the floor. The only light came from the moon, shining through the cracks in the roof. "I didn't invite you in," Ogundil said. "But you opened the door with your prayer," the figure replied. Ogundil's voice trembled. "What are you?" The figure tilted its head. "Names have power, but if you must call me something, call me Azael." Ogundil repeated it quietly. The name tasted bitter in his mouth. I don't want trouble, he said. Izael moved closer. You want help, and I want to help you. Ogundil crossed his arms. And what exactly can you help me with? Your land is dry, Izael said. Your heart is broken. You have no family, no peace, no future. You cry at night and pretend to be strong in the day. I can give you more than peace. I can give you power. Power, Ogundil whispered. Yes, Izael said, stepping beside him. Power to speak and others will obey. Power to work and your hands will never lack. Power to sleep and never dream of your pain again. Ogundil closed his eyes. That offer sounded sweet. Too sweet. He felt something inside him stir. Was it hope, or was it fear? And the price? He asked. Izael smiled. Something small. Something simple. Ogundil opened his eyes. What is it? Izael didn't answer. Instead, he walked over to the Bible lying beside the candle. He touched it with one finger. The pages turned black. I don't deal in faith, he said softly. Only in exchange. Ogundil stepped back. No, I won't sell my soul. Izael laughed. Not your soul. Not yet. Then he leaned forward and whispered in Ogundil's ear. Just your trust. Ogundil didn't sleep that night. After Izael vanished into the shadows, the house felt cold. Not because of the air, but because of the silence he left behind. The kind of silence that crawled under your skin and stayed there. He sat alone, staring at the blackened Bible on the floor. His heart was heavy. What had he done? Had he truly invited something unholy into his life? Or was it all a dream caused by hunger and grief? When the rooster crowed at dawn, Ogundil stepped outside. The village was waking up. Smoke rose from cooking fires. Women carried buckets on their heads. Children ran with bare feet and wide smiles. Everything looked normal. But something was different. People stared at him. One man paused and touched his chest like he had seen a ghost. A woman crossed to the other side of the road and whispered a quick prayer. Ogundil walked to the market. The same woman who used to chase him away for owing her money gave him a full basket of yams. Take it, she said, avoiding his eyes. But I didn't pay. It's fine, she said, her voice shaking. Just take it and go. He walked away confused. At the palm wine stand, the seller gave him 2 gourds without asking anything. Your land? The seller said quietly. I passed by it this morning. The ground has turned green. How? Ogundil blinked. It was dry yesterday. The man nodded. But today it's wet. Like it rained only on your farm. Ogundil's legs felt weak. He rushed back home. When he got to his land, his heart nearly stopped. The cracked, dusty earth had turned moist. Young leaves had already begun to push through the ground. Fresh green shoots, alive. And in the middle of the field, standing tall, was a tree that had never been there before. Its trunk was black. Its leaves were red. And hanging from the branches were bones. Ogundil couldn't look away. The tree stood at the center of his land like a curse wearing the mask of a miracle. Its branches spread wide, reaching toward the sky like dark hands. The bones hanging from it clicked gently in the wind, like the rattling of dry teeth. He stepped closer. The soil beneath the tree was warm. Too warm. He bent down and touched the earth. It pulsed beneath his palm, like something was breathing underneath. Ogundil stood up fast, heart pounding. What is this? He whispered. The voice came from behind him. A gift, Izael said. Ogundil turned around quickly. The demon stood where the boundary of the farm met the forest. Still calm, watching. Why are there bones on it? Ogundil asked. Because you asked for power. This tree is yours. It listens to your needs. It feeds your land. It answers your hunger. Ogundil looked again at the red leaves. They moved even though there was no wind. And the bones. Izael smiled. Every blessing has a root. Some grow from water. Others grow from sacrifice. Ogundil felt cold. Sacrifice. You didn't offer one, Izael said. But someone did. Ogundil's eyes widened. Who? Izala's voice dropped to a whisper. A beggar was found dead on the road this morning. No wounds. No blood. Just empty. Ogundil stumbled back. Are you saying? I'm saying, Izale interrupted. That power always comes with balance. You wanted your land to live, so something else had to die. Ogundil stared at the tree. A crow landed on one of the branches and pecked at a hanging skull. It cawed loudly, then flew away. Remove it, Ogundil said. I cannot, Izale replied. It is part of you now. You made the call. You opened the door. Ogundil clenched his fists. I didn't ask for anyone to die. You didn't ask for permission either, Izale said calmly. And with that he vanished again, leaving Ogundil alone. Alone with the tree. And the bones. The days that followed were strange. Ogundil's land became the most fertile in the village. Crops that had refused to grow for years now flourished like magic. His yams were bigger. His maize taller. His cassava sweeter. People came from other villages just to see it. God has remembered you, they said. Prayers do work, others whispered. Ogundil smiled politely, but deep down he knew. This was not God. This was something else. Every morning, he walked past the black tree. Every morning he saw new bones hanging from it. Sometimes small ones, sometimes large. And every time he asked Izale where they came from, the demon said the same thing. Balance. At first, Ogundil tried to ignore it. He gave food to widows. He helped the church roof get repaired. He gave free crops to the poor. He tried to balance the evil with good. But the dreams didn't stop. He would see the red-eyed tree in his sleep. He would hear whispers in his ears at night. And sometimes he would wake up and find footprints of ash near his door. One evening, as the sun was setting, a young girl came running through the village screaming, Papa! Papa is gone. Her voice broke every heart. She ran to Ogundil's house. My father came here yesterday to help you with your harvest, she cried. He never came back. Ogundil froze. He remembered. The man had worked on the land. He had bled from a cut on his palm. And that night, a new skull had appeared on the tree. He looked at the girl, shaking. I'm sorry, was all he could say. The girl stared at him, eyes full of tears. Why are people who help you the ones who disappear? Ogundil couldn't answer. He just closed the door and locked it behind him. Ogundil sat on the floor with his back against the door. His chest rose and fell fast. He was sweating, though the evening air was cool. The girl's voice still rang in his ears. Her crying. Her question. Why are people who help you the ones who disappear? He buried his face in his hands. This was not the life he wanted. He had prayed for help, not for death. He had begged for peace, not this thing. There was a knock. 3 slow, heavy taps. Ogundil didn't move. Then the voice came, deep and calm. You're upset. Ogundil raised his head. Leave me alone, Izale. You knew there would be a cost. I never agreed to blood. Izale's voice sounded closer. But blood agreed to you. Ogundil stood. I never asked for this. Izale spoke slowly. Yet you never refused when the blessings came. You never said no when the ground became rich. You never stopped the people from praising you. Ogundil shouted. Because I thought it was God. Silence. Then Izale laughed. And now that you know the truth, what will you do? Ogundil walked to the window. The sky was getting dark. In the distance, he saw the tree. More bones. And something new, a cloth. A torn piece of wrapper. His hands shook. It looked like the one the girl's father was wearing. I can't do this anymore, Ogundil said. Then return it all, Izale replied. Ogundil turned. What do you mean? Return the blessings. Burn the harvest. Cut down the tree. Take back the pain. Ogundil stared at the demon through the window's shadow. And if I do? Izale grinned. Then the gate will close. Ogundil looked down. The harvest was ready. His name was now respected. The land had changed. And all he had to do was give it back. He didn't answer. Not that night. Not yet. The next morning, the village gathered for market day. Ogundil stood at his stall with fresh yam, maize, tomatoes, and palm oil. His table was full. His pockets were heavy. People smiled at him. Some shook his hand. One elder said, "You should run for council leader. You're a blessed man." Ogundil forced a smile, but his eyes kept returning to one face. The girl. She stood near the palm oil seller holding a small basket. She didn't look at Ogundil. She didn't speak. She just stood there, staring at the ground. Suddenly, he felt sick. He closed the stall early and walked home, fast. When he got there, the black tree was waiting, red leaves swaying even though there was no wind. He walked up to it. He had made his choice. "I want out," he said. "Nothing. I want my peace back. I want my soul back." The ground trembled slightly. Behind him, the air became cold. Azael appeared. "You're sure?" he asked. Ogundil nodded. "Yes." Azael raised his hand. The red leaves shook harder. The bones began to fall, one by one, hitting the ground like broken glass. Ogundil watched in silence. Then flames rose around the tree. Not yellow flames, black ones. The fire burned without smoke. It didn't rise. It sank into the earth, pulling the roots of the tree with it. Then silence. The tree was gone. Only a black hole remained where it once stood. Azael stepped forward. "You've closed the door," he said. Ogundil exhaled. But Azael wasn't done. "Now you must carry the weight of your prayer." Ogundil frowned. "What do you mean?" "You wanted help from anyone," the demon said. "Even from what you didn't understand. That cry reached deeper than you imagined. I wasn't the only one who heard it." Ogundil's heart dropped. What else answered? Azael smiled, but this time there was fear in his eyes. "I don't know, but it's still coming." Ogundil could not sleep. Even though the black tree was gone, the land didn't feel clean. It felt empty, like a space waiting for something worse. He poured water on the soil, hoping to wash it, hoping to see green again. But nothing grew, and the earth stayed warm. That night, the sky had no stars. Even the moon refused to shine. Ogundil sat by the window with a lantern beside him. His eyes were wide open, watching, listening, waiting. Then came the sound. Soft at first, like wind through dry leaves. Then louder. Voices. Many voices. Not shouting. Not singing. Whispering. They surrounded his house like a circle. Some near, some far. Some sounded like women, others like animals. He looked outside. No one was there. Then his lantern went out, and the walls began to shake. He ran to the door and opened it, but what he saw made him step back in fear. The sky above the village had turned red. Clouds rolled like smoke. Lightning flashed without sound. And from the horizon, something was moving across the land. A shadow, wide and tall. It didn't walk. It flowed, like a wave of darkness eating everything in its path. Ogundil shut the door and fell to his knees. "Azael," he shouted. "You said the door is closed." There was no answer. He grabbed his Bible, the one Azael had turned black. He opened it. To his surprise, the pages were white again. He wept. He pressed the Bible to his chest and prayed like he hadn't prayed in years. Not just for help, not for blessings, but for mercy. "God," he whispered, "if you're still there, I made a mistake. Please stop whatever is coming. Please." Outside, the whispering stopped. A deep silence followed. Then a voice came, but it wasn't Azael. It was deeper, stronger, older. "You closed the door to the demon," the voice said, "but you forgot to close your own." Ogundil's breath caught in his throat. What do you mean?" he asked the voice. The room was still. Then the candle on the table lit itself, without flame. Its light was red, like blood in water. "You prayed in anger," the voice said. "You cursed the heavens," it continued. "And when your words fell, they landed where only shadows listen." Ogundil trembled. "But I sent Azael away. I took it all back." The voice answered, "You sent away one, but others have already tasted your pain, and they are hungry. Suddenly, the walls began to shift. Not shake, shift. The clay bent in strange ways, like the house was breathing. The ceiling grew taller. The floor stretched. The walls whispered. Ogundil tried to run, but the door would not open. It had vanished. He was trapped. The red candle melted faster than normal. The wax flowed up instead of down. Then the voice spoke again. You asked for anyone. Yes, Ogundil whispered. You offered your trust. Yes. You gave room for power without asking the price. Yes. The voice grew louder. Then now, you must face the one who was always listening. From the corner of the room, a shape formed. It was not a man, not a demon, not even a shadow. It was something else. Its face was covered in ash. Its body had no eyes, no mouth, just smooth dark skin like old stone. It crawled slowly, but the room bent around it. Ogundil held up the Bible. Stay back, he shouted. The creature paused. It tilted its faceless head. Then it said, in the same voice Ogundil had used that night, I am what came when God did not answer. Ogundil dropped the Bible, and the lights went out. Darkness swallowed everything. Ogundil could not see, could not breathe, could not move. It was like he had fallen into a deep well with no bottom. He tried to scream, but no sound came out, only silence. And the crawling, that strange, dragging sound moved slowly around him. Then a voice, his own voice, echoed from above. I want help. I don't care who answers. Again. I want help. Again. Over and over like a curse. Then another voice, the faceless creature, joined in. I am the one you called. I came when heaven kept quiet. Ogundil felt something touch his shoulder. Cold, dry, heavy. He turned, but still couldn't see. Then the voice whispered in his ear. You fed me with your pain. You fed me with your rage. Now, let me feed on you. Ogundil cried out, and suddenly, light. Blinding, golden light. A loud crack, like thunder split the air. The darkness pulled back. The crawling stopped, and the shape hissed like smoke meeting fire. Ogundil fell to the ground, gasping for air. Above him, standing tall and glowing, was a man in white. His face was calm. His eyes burned, not with fire, but with light. He held a staff in one hand and a chain in the other. You called many, the man said. But now I have come. The dark creature screamed and leapt toward him. But the man struck the ground with the staff. The room shook. Chains wrapped around the creature's body like vines, pulling it to the floor. Ogundil crawled backward, his heart pounding. Who are you? He asked. The man looked down at him. I am the one who answers last, but never late. With a wave of his hand, the creature vanished in a burst of ash. And for the first time in weeks, Ogundil felt peace. Real peace. The light faded gently. Ogundil stood slowly. His legs were weak, but steady. The man in white turned to him. You opened a gate, he said. But gates are not only for evil. They are also for mercy. Ogundil nodded, breathing hard. I didn't know. I didn't mean to. The man raised a hand. Pain speaks loudly. Desperation even louder. But heaven listens, even in silence. Tears filled Ogundil's eyes. I thought I was forgotten, he said. You weren't, the man replied. You were being watched. Sometimes delay is protection. Ogundil sank to his knees. Thank you. The man stepped forward and touched his shoulder. You are forgiven, he said. But forgiveness is not forgetting. What was opened must still be closed completely. Ogundil looked confused. But I sent Izael away. The black tree is gone. Yes, said the man. But one thing remains. He pointed to Ogundil's chest. The door inside you. Suddenly Ogundil saw it. Not with his eyes, but with his spirit. A crack, deep in his soul, like a broken window in a quiet house. Through that crack, darkness could still whisper. Ogundil's voice trembled. How do I close it? Not with power, said the man. With truth. Ogundil frowned. What truth? The man looked him in the eyes. You must confess. Speak what you've hidden. Say the truth to those you've harmed, and carry the weight of your voice. Ogundil lowered his head. That was harder than fighting a demon. But he knew it was the only way. The next morning, Ogundil stood before the village. The sun was just rising, casting long shadows on the ground. People were still setting up their market stalls. Children were sweeping the compounds. Roosters crowed in the distance. But when they saw Ogundil, they paused. He looked different, not in clothes, not in face, but in spirit. His shoulders were no longer proud. His eyes were no longer hard. He stood like a man who had walked through fire and survived. He rang the village bell. Once, twice, 3 times. The villagers gathered. Some curious, some suspicious, some afraid. He raised his hand. And then he spoke. My name is Ogundil. You all know me as the man whose land changed. The one who got rich quickly. The one whose name was suddenly blessed. He paused. But what you didn't know is the price I paid. The crowd murmured. Ogundil continued. I was tired. I was angry. One night I prayed in the wrong way. I didn't care who heard me. I just wanted the pain to stop. His voice cracked. And something answered. The people gasped. I accepted help that wasn't holy. And in return, people suffered. My blessings were bought with blood I never saw, until it was too late. The girl whose father had vanished stepped forward. Ogundil's eyes met hers. I am sorry, he said. Truly, I didn't kill your father. But I opened the door that let death in. And for that I carry the blame. He knelt before her. She said nothing. The village was silent. Then the chief came forward. He was an old man, wise and calm. He looked at Ogundil, then at the people. Many would hide such truth, the chief said. But this man has spoken it. He placed a hand on Ogundil's head. And truth, he said, is the first step to healing. That evening, something strange happened in Akuro village. As the sun began to set, the sky turned gold. Not red, not gray, but warm, pure gold. A soft breeze passed through the village, and people said it felt like the air was sighing in relief. Ogundil walked back to his home. His farm was quiet now. The land was dry again. The crops had stopped growing fast. The black tree was gone, and in its place was a small white flower, gentle, glowing slightly in the fading light. He bent down and touched it. It was warm, alive, but not unnatural, not forced, just real. He smiled. Inside his house, the Bible lay open. The pages were clean again. The candle beside it burned gently, not with red or black flame, but normal yellow light. Ogundil sat down on the mat. He closed his eyes. And this time, when he prayed, his voice was calm. He didn't shout. He didn't demand. He simply said, "Thank you for giving me another chance." No demon answered. No shadows moved. Only silence and peace. That night he dreamed again. But it wasn't fire, or bones, or blood. It was light, path stretching forward. Unknown, but safe. In the distance, he saw someone walking toward him. It was Ada, his late wife. She smiled at him. "I'm proud of you," she said. Then she turned and walked ahead. Ogundil followed. And the dream carried him through the night. Some doors should never be opened. Ogundil was a man like many of us. Desperate, frustrated, tired of waiting. He prayed. But when the answer didn't come fast enough, he whispered a second prayer. A dangerous one. Sometimes the most dangerous prayer is the one we say in anger, when we say, "I don't care who answers," because not everything that answers prayer comes from heaven. In his hunger for blessings, Ogundil forgot the most important thing. The source of the blessing matters more than the blessing itself. He gave food to the poor. He helped the church. He tried to cover evil with good. But you cannot bribe your way out of darkness. When we touch evil to fix our problems, we invite more than we can handle. The thing you call on in the night may come for you in the day. This story reminds us, wait for God, even when it's hard, even when it hurts. For what does it profit a man to gain the whole farm, but lose his peace, his soul, and his sleep? So if you're watching this now, Take a moment and think. What kind of help are you praying for? And who might be listening? Choose your prayers carefully, because not every voice that answers in the dark comes from the light.